Hello, welcome to another Touchy Gooners podcast. My name is Lewis. I'm joined by the two Dans. We got Monte Carlo Dan and we got German Dan. How you doing, gentlemen?
This guy's crazy, man.
Yeah, he's proper nuts, man. But yeah, I'm good, man.
Yeah, all good, bro. All good.
Yeah, man. Look, I was just saying to Dan before the podcast. Well, sorry, German. I was saying to German Dan before the podcast started. Like, we've just beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. And it just feels all a bit pointless. You know, we can celebrate, but what does it mean really? You know, it does feel a bit like that. Like, I want to try and take all the positives in the world from this game, but yeah, man, it's just really disappointed that we've obviously put 2 wins on the bounce now. Is it 2 or 3 wins in the bounce in the league?
I think it's
2.
Is it 2? 2 wins on the bounce in the league, and it's to no avail, really. The only thing that really, the only thing that's really still left on the cards is finishing above Spurs. And if we finish above Spurs, that means we end up playing in the Europa Conference or whatever it is. So, yeah, man, it's like it's all about picking your poison, really and truly. But guys, if you are watching on the YouTube live, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button. If you're listening to us via the podcast app, tweet us your thoughts on the pod, hashtag, and leave a 5-star review on the Touchdown Fracas podcast page as well, please. That would be very much appreciated. So, guys, look, let's get into the game. Interesting that we started with the 3 at the back, and Arteta very much went to match Tuchel. Any surprises there with the way we set up?
He's a funny guy, because I feel like at several points in the season, our team would have probably benefited from him sort of going back to basics in the way that he did. I wouldn't say Saka right wing back would be my first choice, but I think the back 3 probably suited a lot of this squad at certain points this season. I think when Tierney got injured, I think that was an option he could have used. I think earlier in the season when we were sort of struggling for ideas, and he stuck to that weird hybrid formula situation. It wasn't really working. That was another solution that you could have used. But it's just funny to me because this is exactly what we used to get onto Unai Emery for, which was changing up the formation, changing up the lineup to do the opposition. And I think I saw a tweet that said this is our 36th game of the season and it's our 35th different lineup. Like, there's been absolutely no consistency in the team selection this year, and I think that's shown in the lack of consistency in some of our results as well.
Yeah, I do feel like I do feel what you're saying with the whole lineup thing, but I would imagine it's probably the same for most teams in the league, though, right? I don't suppose we're too far off what everyone else has been doing in terms of rotation. But Dan, Monte Carlo, Dan, what did you think of the way we set up and going with the 3?
I can't believe I'm being Christian with a new name, but
well, they were calling you Silverstone Dan on the Discord, so it's up to you, man. Which one do you like?
I go with just Dan. Dan works, No, but jokes aside, I think I had a feeling he was going to change and try and match Chelsea's shape today. Saka right wing back threw me off. But I said in the chat today, like, I've spent so much energy, like, getting angry over the formations before the game, that I'm trying to not get too angry for the games anymore and save my anger for after the games, Mm-hmm. So, consolidate my anger and get it all out at the right time. So I had a feeling we would try and match their shape, and the game plan was always going to be then sitting back, hitting them on the counter. I don't think we did that to a good degree. I can't lie. I felt the performance was still poor. The performance was still poor, in my opinion, and the execution of that performance as well. I think we defended in numbers and probably closed space down fairly well. I wouldn't say really well. I think Chelsea also lacked that final touch today. Really, I can remember them creating a few chances, but nothing of very, very strong sort of where you're thinking he's got to score. I think the Giroud one was probably the only one where that was a difficult finish.
Giroud and obviously the Havertz one in the first half.
The Havertz one was a big chance. But so I was thinking they didn't play that well, to be honest, and we were a team there to be taken advantage of, to be honest. So they weren't really ruthless today. We just defended well enough, stayed in the game long enough, and then I think we should have had a penalty in the end. Partey didn't dive. I think he got clipped. But I think in the end, the win probably is not deserved. But we've done the double with Chelsea, which is crazy.
Somehow, if there's anything we can take from the season, is we've done the double over Chelsea. Olo, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us late.
Sorry, lads. Yeah, just doing my thing as usual. Coming up late.
Did you manage to watch the game?
I was watching it, to be fair, and I was bored, man. I just found the whole game boring, and it just attack v defense. Once in a while, we've had a few attacks. I can't really enjoy football at the minute, man. It's a tough place to be.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I was saying pre-pod as well. It is difficult to get excited about these wins because where does these wins leave us now? It's all a little bit like, if we had something to play for, these wins would be huge. Can you imagine beating Chelsea and you need to beat Chelsea to get into the top 4 and stuff like that, and it makes those games mean something. And I just really struggle to, get motivated for this game. I struggle to have any kind of emotion throughout the game. Even if Chelsea did equalise in the last minute, I would have just been like, well,
whatever. And what makes it worse as well? See this win. Imagine Everton lose their 2 games in hand, and we end up in that UEFA Conference League.
UEFA Conference.
That is. That's.
So is Europa Conference is that just 7th then? Europa Conference, or is it 8th as well?
What time's does anyone know what time kickoff is? Imagine kickoff
is going to be at 10 a.m. on a Monday.
I'm not ready for that, but I can't deal with that.
No, it's the thing is though. Do you think I would imagine the club would still want to be in that competition simply because of the revenues, right? They would want as much money as possible. So, irregardless of what we want as fans, I'm not really against it. The reason I'm not really against it is I know Arteta may not do this. Is that I would like it to be a good opportunity for him to play some of the youngsters. So Balogun, if we have Europa Conference next season, I would feel less annoyed. Not less annoyed. Sorry, I'd feel a bit more relaxed about someone like Balogun staying, because I would just say, well, give him all the Europa Conference games. Someone like Miguel Aziz, give him all the Europa Conference games. All these young players that we've got coming up, and maybe we need to see a bit more of them. The Europa Conference, I don't know the format. I'm assuming it's the same as Europa League.
Let me tell you something. We are in the mud. We're talking about the Europa Conference.
We are in the mud. We are in the mud. We've got to be realistic, right? We've got to be realistic. This is the place that we're in, and I'm just not as anti the competition as you guys are. I know.
Oh, mate, Lewis, no. You need to look at it this way.
I'm seeing the positives.
How do you go? No, you can't look at the positive. How do you go from being Champions League 5 years, big Champions League,
I understand that,
then dropping Europa for 5 years, and then fall out of that, drop to you.
Okay, but what's the alternative to not being in any European competition?
We won't even win that competition. That's the thing that's it, man.
That's what's going to make it worse. Like Dan just said, we're probably not going to even win it.
No, because the Europa League was enough. Yeah, like what was the final? Like Baku, I don't know where the final was played last year, because of COVID, probably Germany somewhere.
Portugal, wasn't it?
In Portugal, it's Gdansk this year Europa League. Where is the Europa Conference final?
It's going to be in Tilbury or something like that.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
It's going to be in Basildon.
It's going to be one of them COD maps.
I don't want to hear that theme music. I don't want to go watch a cup final playing in Hackney Marshes or whatnot, man. They'll play the final with that in SE Don's home ground, man. That's the level that we're talking about here, man. I don't want to be associated with that competition.
So you don't want to be associated at all?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm with Dan there. You know, if we're not in Europa League or Champions League, I'd rather not be in any European competitions. I'd rather you see the summer. I'd rather us not even make Europe. I'd rather us just slim down the squad. You know, honestly,
I think that's a really good point, Ola. I think it's actually essential for us to go where we need to go if we are able to focus on getting a quality first 11 for Premier League, because I think I hear your Balogun stuff. But I think I'd probably be more confident or happier with him staying if we weren't in European competition, because I feel like if you went into a season with Aubameyang, you know Aubameyang's going to play I guess maybe 30 to 32 or 38 games. You can give Balogun maybe 5 to 10 Premier League games, and he'll be getting minutes off the bench to rest Aubameyang as well, plus the League Cup and the FA Cup matches. I think that's a lot of good football that Balogun can play, being in and around the first team, if those two are your main striking options. Not only then do you get to reinvest potential Lacazette money elsewhere in the squad, but it's clear dynamics that Aubameyang's first choice, Balogun's second choice, Martinelli, you get another winger on the left, Martinelli is second choice to that winger there, and then you got Pepe, Saka on the right. You know, and then I feel like if you have these clear roles in the team, first 11 is top quality, then you know you can then, if you do say get back into Europe next year, you can then start fleshing out with some of these squad players and whatnot. Because I feel like if we are in European competition, that's when you get the likes of these, you know, these Cedric deals, these Mari deals, where they're not really adding anything and they're not playing
there to make up the numbers.
You know what the issue is though with Arsenal? We've been saying that do the bare minimum, man. The bare minimum is why our squad is really like this, because they will go for these easy deals rather than. Because I remember back in the day when Wenger was serious on it. When we added to the squad, we'd add quality into the squad to make competition.
Nelson Vivas, yeah, Igor Stepanov.
Not his time. Let's say Nasri in it. When Nasri, that Rosicky midfield, it was competition for places. I remember there was one point with Rosicky, Nasri, Cesc, a lot of people just fighting for places, and that keeps them on their feet. They know they got to bring their A game every week.
But even then, Ola, we were still always one position off. Oh, we're a centre back away, we're a centre forward away, you know. But yeah, go on, Dan.
Yeah, I was going to say let's focus on the Europa Conference League. What is the purpose of the competition? What is the end goal of that competition? Because with the Europa League, we know you can find your way into the Champions League with it.
It's the Europa League.
Yeah, so the Europa Conference League, there's no purpose for that.
It just sounds even worse now.
It is nuts. I can't lie, it's nuts. But me personally, if we dedicated like our under 23 team to it, I wouldn't be adverse to playing it. Personally.
I know what you mean, but do you know what? You see, you're going to
say Arteta probably will play our full strength team anyway. So.
You see, with Aziz and that though, I feel like I'd rather not make that competition and all of them go out on loan if they're not going to get the game time they need. Because I think they'll learn more from that than playing this competition every week. Obviously, they'll play against some alright teams, but nah.
I wonder who would be in the competition with us.
It'll be like teams like from Finland, man, that can't qualify.
But they'll be like La Liga teams. So it's probably be like...
Yeah, we'll probably get dunked on by Villarreal again.
It'll be Villarreal. We'll play Villarreal in the final or something like that. I'm just looking now. Maybe Juventus. Maybe Juventus conference. Play against Ronaldo. They're in our luck. We'll get Juventus in the groups or something like that. No, but it won't be Juventus. But it could be like Roma, Villarreal. So, you know,
I think teams that come like... it's teams from like leagues like Finland and that
they get like a first seed basically.
Yeah, first seed, and they'll be probably
they're actually in the tournament rather than having to qualify. Yeah. Look, I would rather be in the Europa League 100%, but I can see a scenario where Europa Conference League wouldn't be that bad. I get it; it's embarrassing, and I suspect that the club will still push quite hard for it. I mean, we've got 2 games left, and we're eighth. We're eighth now, are we? We're a point behind Spurs. I know Everton have got 2 games in hand, but Everton have got some tricky games. Spurs have got some really tricky games. We've got Palace and Brighton left, so it's not beyond the realms of possibilities that we actually do finish 7th. So, and I'm sure the club will be happy to get the revenues. So I can't.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering as well. Do any of you boys know what's the TV money for the Europa Conference League? Because I'm looking at it like this: Champions League is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday. Europa League is going to be Thursday. When are we playing these games?
I would imagine it'll be on a Thursday as well, right?
It might be Sunday night, bro. Sunday night. The competition's coming like goals.
I think the benefit of the Europa are far outweighed by the Europa Conference. Sorry, are far outweighed by the cons, man. They're like it's a shock.
Yeah, I agree as well. And do you know what the thing is as well? For the last couple of years, being in the Europa League, it's sort of amplified our way of trying to half hook it and trying to in the league we don't do that well. We can win the Europa League and then get to the semi-final, get knocked out, get to the final, get smashed. That's sort of like an excuse to not having a good league campaign. Like, we still have this hope. No, we need to really tank it, and the league needs to be our absolute priority. So every league game, we can be on Arteta's ass, because otherwise people are just gonna be like, oh yeah, we still have the Europa League if we'd make that, or Europa Conference League. We could still I don't care. We need to really tank in Europe this year and go all the way out for the league next year.
You know, let's talk right now. I'm just seeing the amount of PR this Arteta guy is getting. I am so sure. Yeah, you see all these big Twitter pages of Arsenal fans. I am so sure they get paid by Arsenal. To do this. I'm so sure of it.
Yeah,
because this is mad.
I'll spread Arteta propaganda as well, man.
We'll get onto that. We'll get onto it. Let's talk a little bit about the game itself, because we did actually play today, and we did actually beat Chelsea, who are the second best team in the league right now. I think is that fair to say? Chelsea's second best team in the league.
Yeah, I think some Chelsea fans were saying second best team in the world. Yeah, Champions League final and all that.
They're in the Champions League. Yeah, I mean, look. I'd be pretty confident of Chelsea beating Man United right now.
What? They laughed at the boys Saka for saying we can beat everyone and we'll just beat Chelsea.
Just beat Chelsea. Just beat Champions League semi-finalists. Hey, Real Madrid. Look, finalists. If you want to know how to beat Chelsea, Arteta's your boy. All right, you come knocking, and we'll see whether you can have Arteta, and he can teach you how to beat Chelsea. But let's talk about the game. Obviously, we got. I felt like we were under the cosh pretty early, and we got a goal against the run of play. I know Emil Smith-Rowe scored it. Great that he scored now 2-2. I do want to have a bit of debate about Emil Smith-Rowe and about what you guys expect for him next season, because we've been having a few group chat conversations today. But 2-2 for Emil Smith-Rowe. I think he is showing that he can be a bit of a scorer. I know today was a bit of a gift, let's put it mildly. But he's still got to be there. He shows the energy to get into the box. So. What did you? I actually thought Emil Smith-Rowe was really good as well throughout the game. One of our better performers, actually. So, what did you think of Emil Smith-Rowe today? And what are we expecting of him next season? Olo, I'll start with you.
I just got to reverse. I hate this guy.
You hate Emil Smith-Rowe?
Oh no, I thought we were on about Arteta still. Nah, do you know what? I'm watching Arteta's little press conference about him being misquoted, did it? But Emil Smith-Rowe, do you know what? From day, I've always thought, when I first watched him, remember when I first watched him, there was that Blackpool FA Youth Cup game that I first watched him properly, and I just thought this kid is quality. And what's scary is that what we're seeing right now is literally probably, I'll say, about 65% Emma Smith Rowe. There's still a lot more from his game, and obviously now he's adding goals into his game, and he's being more effective for us. I think it's good that he's only shown 65% of his game right now, so we can still expect a lot from him.
So next season, what would that look like?
I think
in the league, he's got what, 2 goals, 4 assists in the league? Is it this season?
I think he'll add more to that. I think he'll add more goals and more assists. He can be a very effective player, and that's what he's about. And he's not. I think he hasn't. How many chances he really had in most of our games? He doesn't really get many clear-cut chances, and that's due to our style of play as well. So I think he'll get better chances next season to score more goals. I'd say, well, depending on what Arteta wants to do.
Mm. Where do you guys sit on the fence that if I said, if I told you that Emil Smith Rowe was to get, say, 4 goals and 8 assists in the league next season, would that be a good season from Emil Smith Rowe if he plays the full season?
Listen, on the number stuff, I'd like to give some opinions, because these numbers, I don't really think you should be basing a player's season on just the numbers. So there could be games where ESR could have a big influence, not get a goal or assists. So the numbers are a good barometer, I think, to say, oh yeah, he's contributed, he's put numbers on the board. But let's look at the whole season holistically. Did we think he was, what is his primary job? Creating, facilitating chances, facilitating situations for teammates, and at times also contributing, adding the finishing touch, you'd say, which I think are assists or like pre-assists or whatever, you know. So I think 4 goals and 8 assists, and I think in the group chat I said this earlier, like, this might sound like an excuse, but I don't care. But I think a lot of players that have high quality have a lot of seasons where people don't scrutinize them, like, oh, he needed to get 10 assists and 5 goals. What do people know even Bernardo Silva's numbers? They don't care, because he plays well most of the time. The numbers in that team are other people are putting the numbers up. The people that are numbers guys are the strikers, the wide forwards. We're looking at Aubameyang, he needs to get goals. I'm looking at if Emil Smith would be our primary creator, he would be the guy getting the numbers. But I don't think he would be that primary creator. I think we will probably look and buy that primary creator, and Smith Rowe will be part of the piece. So I don't think we should be judging him too strongly in numbers. And quite frankly, I think he actually could put up some good numbers, to be honest. But I just don't like this whole numbers-led approach when there's more to view from football, and especially in positions where numbers don't quite tell the full pictures. I think with strikers, they do give you a better idea, much better idea. But with these creative players, I really don't think so. I think Pogba has had a great season, to be honest. 3 goals, and I don't know how many assists he got. I don't think it's that many. Bernardo Silva, at times, I think he's been pretty good. But like 3 goals as well. Like, do you know what I mean? 2 goals or something stupid. I don't know, but the numbers don't matter that much.
No, I agree with you. I don't think the numbers do mean much. But when we have, for example, what we got? So 2 goals from Emil Smith Rowe, 1 goal from Odegaard, 1 goal from Willian. Is it nothing from Ceballos, nothing from Partey, maybe 1 from El Neni, 1 from Xhaka, maybe. Who else have I missed in midfield? I can't remember. I don't think I've missed.
That's a big drop in numbers, there. You know,
there's no goals.
No, that's a big drop, because I remember I think we had a midfield at one point that was at least a lot of them averaging a minimum of 5 goals.
What's the most goals Nasri has ever scored for Arsenal in a season?
It wasn't much, but
much. Didn't he have that one season where he scored 8 or 10 or something?
Maybe.
Or assists. I don't think he was ever a numbers guy, but he was a player. Yeah. We need players.
I think
he scored 10 goals. So in his final season, he scored 10 goals in the league.
Yeah.
I think generally Dan is right in his analysis there, but for me, I think the numbers thing, it would depend on what formation we play, where Smith Rowe is playing, and how the team is performing generally. Because the way I see it is that if we try and persist with this 4-2-3-1, I do think numbers will be part of the analysis of his performance, right? But I think at age 20, I'm not going to put too much pressure on him to be getting those numbers. I'm going to be looking at some of the other forward players to put in the numbers, because the way I see it is, if you want to be top four, you need to have you need to have, I think, 3 reliable scorers, right? And when I say reliable, I think your top scorer needs to be a shooter. Your second top scorer and maybe gets you like a 2 in 3 or maybe a 1 in 2. Your second top scorer, you can maybe go to a 1 in 2, and your third top scorer maybe a 1 in 3. Right, and then obviously there can be a match of those numbers. If you get a defender that scores 6 goals, you know what I mean, you can take some goals from elsewhere, that kind of thing. But the way I look at our team makeup right now, our centre backs, we don't score from set pieces. Right? Our centre backs, we don't really score from corners. We're terrible at attacking corners. You know, I think Gabriel's got 2 headers. I think Luis maybe have 1 in the league, but other than that, we don't get any goals from midfield. Obviously, if we assume that Aubameyang's going to start shooting next season, hopefully he comes back to give us another 20 goals. But outside of these guys, we don't really have the numbers. So if Smith Rowe is going to be starting, say he starts 25 games next season, I do think we do need some numbers from someone who's going to be playing in that attacking position. Not to say that it's going to be the be all and end all of his analysis, but I'm just looking at us this season. What's it? 50 goals now we've hit after 36 games. That's crazy to me, you know. So we're going to need more.
But at the same time, we said it before. It's more to do with the setup of the manager that's limiting us, rather than these players not being capable of.
I hear that we don't create chances, but I'm saying this in the view that we're going to be creating chances next year. You know, that we're going to have people on form, because there's just been too many people underperforming this season.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I know we need numbers, and we need those numbers from a number of players. So, as you said, if we have a primary goal scorer and a secondary goal scorer, then we need to the other goals we score in is essentially going to have to be split across the midfielders. And I would look at Aubameyang as the primary goal scorer. We'd have to get a wide player that is the secondary goal scorer, in my opinion. And then you're looking at Saka, ESR, whoever else we sign in the midfield. They all need to contribute numbers-wise, goals, and especially on the assists, I believe. But I just feel like we're limiting. We're narrowing down the conversation on ESR. If we're already talking about this guy needs to get 10 goals, he needs to get 11 assists. I think it's very early in his career, and I do think he's capable of this at some point. He looks like a player that gets into the right positions, and opposite of what Odegaard actually is. He's not a player that moves into the spaces that become available, which is we should touch on this as well. But I think
we should touch on it.
He's now moves into the spaces, so I can see him have goal scoring potential. I just don't think it's something we should be putting the number on it now, especially not knowing what the team looks like next season, not knowing what the manager is going to be like next season as well. We have our assumptions. I don't like that conversation. You know, it's that burden that we're putting on someone when the burden should be on the manager finding other solutions or multiple solutions. It's the same as with Saka. We're going to be looking at Saka like, oh, he needs to probably get 10 goals, but Aubameyang has struggled to get 10 goals in this team this season. That's how hard it is.
The thing is, though, Dan, is if we don't get 10 goals from a Saka, if we don't get 5 or 6 from Emil Smith Rowe, if the whole midfield don't start scoring more goals, if Aubameyang does not hit 20, we're in the same position that we are now. And I guess I don't know where to go with that line of thought, really, because you're right that it does kind of stop with the manager in terms of like the way he's setting us out to play and our structure and our offensive plan and all these things. But at the end of the day, man, we need to get these players scoring goals, and that's how we're going to win more football games. So just to talk a little bit, you mentioned Odegaard there. I thought another game that just completely I know this is unfair. It isn't his type of game, but we used to say this about Özil, and it's not his type of game. I'm gonna nail my flag to the mast. I don't want to sign Ødegaard.
Wow.
And I'm going to caveat that by saying, unless it is very cheap, I don't want him. I think we need something else. Personally,
what's very cheap for you?
30 or less. 30 or less, because
I think that's what we can get him for potentially, though.
Maybe if so, then fine, do it. But I'm not spending 60 million on this guy. I don't think he's influential enough for us. I don't think he's doing enough on the football pitch to justify it. I get it. Technically, very, very secure. But he's not decisive enough. Like, we've got a young Emil Smith-Rowe making difference in games, more of a difference in games than he is. I don't think that's right. I really don't think that's right. And I think his loan has been quite a disappointment, actually. If I said to you guys before we signed Ødegaard on loan that he was going to play, 15, 16 league games, 1 goal, 0 assists, 0 big chances created, I think you guys would have laughed me out of town if I suggested that he would have brought us those numbers. And yeah, fine, 100% I'm with you guys in terms of Arteta has to take the flak for some of it, but we also have to scrutinise Ødegaard as well. We have to scrutinise his performance. He's still playing on the pitch. He's still going missing for large periods of games. He's still just not quite doing it for me. And I know you guys are probably going to disagree with me, and this will probably come back to bite me in the arse when he becomes this amazing player, and it'll be sound clipped and chopped up and all these things. But just for what I see right now, I'm not a huge fan of him, man. I'm not a huge fan of him.
I think with Ødegaard, I think I said a few months ago I'd pay the bag for him. I think it was right after the West Ham game. I'd pay the bag for him, and I think the bag is probably a bit too much considering the position we are currently in. I don't have doubts on him, on his quality. I still think he has a lot of quality. I don't think this loan has been great for him. Per se, he's had injuries and he's only had about 2 or 3 good games, really. I think with Ødegaard, the problem is, and I slightly touch on it, Oscar, I think he doesn't move enough into the spaces. And I think there are certain things that, when he had that good game at West Ham, it irked me how people were saying he does things that Özil doesn't do. I can't lie, it irked me because I was thinking, this is not true. This guy doesn't even play like Özil, in my opinion. He's just left.
You don't think he plays like Özil?
No, I don't think so, because Özil is a player that moves into the space like ESR. Whereas Ødegaard is a player that doesn't move into the space, doesn't run in behind. He gets ball to feet. And
I don't think Özil runs behind.
No, he does.
What Özil are we talking? What Özil are we talking about?
Özil running in behind was a major part of his game, I think. Until
that was a big
but when? But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no. Do you know what, guys? It's not Lewis's fault. Lewis don't like Özil, man. He's not gonna see the certain things.
A lie.
It's not his fault.
That's a lie.
It's not
a lie, man. He used to do that quite a lot. And that,
no, I'm not saying that you're lying about him running in behind. I'm asking what version of Özil are you talking about?
The version that we've saw for 5-6 years at Arsenal, I think.
Yeah, 100. And
he was doing that a lot.
Go on, no, carry on.
I think they're very similar in the way they play.
And I don't think Ødegaard does that. He actually doesn't move off the ball much, and that's my biggest sort of criticism on him, because he does a lot of nice touches, moves, and he presses better than Özil. You'd say he has a higher work rate than Özil,
but it's not a great work rate.
He doesn't create the same amount of chances or the same amount of situations because he doesn't move enough. Whereas ESR moves a lot. He makes movements off the ball, which creates situations. If we'd have more movers, we'd create more situations. So even though I like Ødegaard and I'm actually quite a fan of him as a player, I'm thinking we need to buy someone that does the same as ESR, moves. moves a lot.
I think that's the issue with our team generally, though. We've got a lot of players that want the ball to feet rather than a lot of players that want to run in behind. And yeah, like you said, there's not many players in our team that like moving into space. You got Pepe, for example. Every single time when he's supposed to run in behind, he would just feet. When you don't need to be where. What game actually was against Villarreal? There was a moment where Tierney was driving forward with the ball, and rather than instead of Pepe running to stretch the game up, he stood there, and he just took the ball off Tierney's feet. And I was just watching that, and I was thinking, are these not taking a? There's no way they're getting coached to do this on the training ground. So I kind of let things like that slide for Arteta, but at the same time, what are you saying to them for them not to carry on with those instructions?
Yeah, I think Dan makes some really good points. I think it's more just around profile rather than quality from Odegaard, because for me, I think he is probably still the best young attacking mid that in that sort of age range, 22, 24, that you can probably get. But
I think Emma Smith Rowe better.
But I think that just in terms of pure like technical quality, right?
Okay.
But I think in terms of the profile, I'm not sure he exactly fits how the manager is trying to play. A guy that I really like, Buendia, that I think people do like, but maybe don't want to pay the money for him. I think he probably is a bit more versatile, can probably do a bit more of the stuff that I think we want to see from an attacking midfielder in our team. He can play off the left, he can play in the middle, he can play off the right, he drifts. I think in one of the scouting things that we said about Odegaard was that he tends to stick to that sort of right half space, which I think can make him quite easy to potentially mark out of the game. You know, that when you saw it against Liverpool, that when the space wasn't there on that side, he didn't really make the move central. He didn't really make the moves out to the left that you would see someone like Smith Rowe do. And then when it comes to sort of playing these tight, in the hole, punchy combination balls, I think he can do it, but it's not really to the same level as someone like SR. Like you've seen it, obviously around that Christmas period, ESR was getting a lot of joy from being the one that ran in behind, interchange, swapping positions with Saka, you know, and you don't really see Odegaard moving from inside to out to swap positions with the winger and sort of change places that way and move defenders around. So I do hear what Dan said.
He'd probably be very good for a Man City who are going to have 70% of the ball
I think he'd be excellent for Man City, right? Playing that David Silva role.
Yeah, we're not that. You know what I mean?
This is what I'm saying. I think this is not a slight on Odegaard in terms of his quality, but the way he creates is not as varied as someone like Ozil did, or even someone like ESR does. Like these players play a lot of the overlaps, the underlaps, and they move into the space. And if you don't do that in this Arsenal team, you're not creating. And think about how ESR came into this team. This team was static. And then he came in and he was the mover and he changed the dynamic of this team. So we need more movers that have technical qualities, in my opinion. And this is me revising my opinion on this player. And I'm kind of with you. And unless we get him on a reasonable price, I don't want to blow the bag on him, because I'd rather we save the bag and blow it on someone like really, really, really good, like that's ready to have a strong influence on this team now and change our destiny, sort of thing. So
Let's look at it from another angle then. How do we?
I do have a few more points and the way Odegaard creates. So when you watch Odegaard's game, as Dan already said, he sticks to the right half space a lot, right? I've seen other creators do the right half space stuff when, as a left footer, you play the right back in behind, you find the runners in behind, but then also go to the left hand side, which what ESR does. Go to the left hand side, create the overlap, and then do the cut back or doing the cross across the box. Odegaard barely moves into that space. I don't know if this is a managerial instruction, but he doesn't seem to be on that side of the pitch to create chances. So
and then as well is he doesn't seem to be even getting. He doesn't seem to be like on the end of things either. In my opinion, either.
Yeah, he doesn't move into the spaces, and I think in this team we can't have it. Only if we need to sign 3 more other players in order for that to work. I think.
Yeah, no, interesting.
I was interrupting your point.
I think that's a really, really good point, because if you do go and you sign Odegaard, I think you have to then build a team around him as well. And I think because I think the things that he's really good at, he is really, really good at, and it would be a waste to have someone like him and not build around him, because I do think he has the quality to lead a team. I think we've seen it in glimpses this season. You look at the West Ham game, you look at was it one of the Europa League games? I think as well, where it's like where
Spurs against Spurs as well.
And Spurs, like where everything was going directly through him, and he was running the attack. Other teams couldn't live with him. Yeah, so that's not to say that this guy is not good enough, or that he, wouldn't be a good signing. But I think if you're going to play with him, you have to play in a certain type of way, and I'm not sure that the team, as it stands, is ready to play that way.
I'm not even sure Arteta is even setting the team up that way. He's setting the team up, or he's putting Odegaard in there, and you're like, oh, he's not looking good, but he's not being set up to excel. I think.
Again, he's a luxury player, in my opinion. So, if you can't play, if you can only, but surely Sociedad weren't dominating 60-70% of the ball.
The game was going through him, though. The game was going through him. Game was going through him, and also I think he had more the freedom of the pitch. As I said, I think at Arsenal we've only seen him on the right hand side creating from that space. It seems like it's very rigid the way we set up, and I think like ESR is the only player that allows that freedom of movement to go into both sides. I'm not
sure, because I think looking at his heat map from last season, it was very much one-sided. Like it was almost like you could put all the red on the bottom half of the pitch because he's always on the right side. And the thing is, like, it's funny because I listen to all this positional play stuff, and I say, and you hear people talk about, that style of football. They think it's quite rigid and this, that, and the other. But like, I think a lot of these positional play guys, they take their inspiration from, Bielsa and all of this, right? Like they say that he's a massive inspiration. Now, look at his teams, and I think it's more about like I don't actually think these players are restricted to stay in their zones, right? Because I look at the games that we actually did well in, that I could say, yeah, we were playing good ball and whatnot. I think there was a lot of interchange of positions, and it happened very quickly, and it happened almost instinctively, which is what you see Leeds do. So I know it's slightly different with the way that Bielsa sets up to defend with the one-on-one, but in terms of attacking, I think the whole point about this positional play is that when players are in the zones, they know where to be and where to run, right? As opposed to them rigidly sticking in their zones. Like if you look at the way ESR plays the number 10, the way Odegaard plays the 10, I don't think you can say it's instruction that Odegaard sticks that position. And it's the same with like when Pepe plays on the right versus when Saka plays on the right. You can see Saka comes inside a lot more. Yeah. He likes to switch places with whoever's in the 10, and Pepe tends to not do that so much. And Saka, when he's playing, he pops up all over the gaff. So
that's why I'm not really hearing a structure argument. Dan,
this is where the structure argument has two sides, though, because the structure suits some players better than others.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to say. Do you think that's an intelligence thing?
So, like,
do you think that's an intelligence thing?
I'm not sure. I think the structure, for example, with Saka and Pepe, I think the structure suits Saka because Saka knows the spaces, he manipulates the spaces, and he uses it better. Whereas with Pepe, it probably hampers him. It's like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm not supposed to be doing that. So some players get minimized, or the sort of freedom on the pitch gets minimized by this, and some players' freedom on the pitch actually becomes bigger because they're understanding the spaces and stuff better. So it's an interpretation thing, and I don't think it's an intelligence thing with ESR and Odegaard. I think it's a style thing. And as you kind of touched on as well, he plays on the right hand side predominantly, and then you tell him stay on the right hand side. Like, it's just like I think ESR is someone that roams into space anyway, and this is literally his game. His game is finding the spaces, making short combinations, and then finding someone and instantly. He doesn't delay. Whereas Odegaard is a player that's we having the ball, we keeping it. I can get the ball under pressure, receive and keep it. You know, this is his game. It's not exactly the same as ESR's, and I think those little differences in style make a big difference then when a framework has been put on the team and you have to find yourself within it. And that's not an excuse for his performances, because I still think he could have performed way, way, way better, Odegaard, in this framework, because he has shown some glimpses. I just think it empowers certain levels or certain players better than others.
I agree. I do want to just move on from that discussion because there's a few more things we need to talk about from this game in particular. I just want to just go through some players real quickly and just, get your thoughts on their performance and, maybe their future as well. One I felt like who had a good performance day, and it didn't really surprise me actually, was because I think we've seen that Leno quite enjoys these type of games where we're under the cosh and he has to make save after save after save. Not to say that he made like lots of great saves today, but I thought he did everything quite well. He made a great save at the end from a Zuma header. And overall, I thought he was quite good. Obviously, this week we've heard a lot of rumours around Leno wanting to leave the club. Dortmund a potential destination for him. Just thoughts really on Leno's performance and his future.
Who's going first?
Monte Carlo, Dan. Go on.
Go on, Monte Carlo.
Take your Patriot.
Now, the thing with Leno is I think Leno's a good keeper in my opinion. He has his bowser moments, but he also has moments where he seems very dominant. So he does have the odd game where you're like, oh, he's been really good. He's made the difference. And I felt like one of the games was today, really, where I think he's made the save at the end. He also made a big save from Mount when on the left foot. So there were a few moments where you thought, okay, yeah, he's done really well. Essentially, with him, I feel like keepers, I don't think there's that many quality keepers out there. That's my general opinion on it. So unless we are finding someone on the same sort of level, which I don't think there are that many keepers out there, no matter how people perceive him, I don't think there are that many keepers on his levels out there. We are probably going to be downgrading in goal if he leaves. If a player wants to leave, I'm not opposed to selling them at all. So if he wants to leave, get the best price for him. But who are we going to buy it in goal? That's my question.
You say that though, Dan, but prior to Chelsea signing Mendy this season, hadn't really heard of him. Hadn't really seen him linked away. We saw these really shit compilations of him where he didn't look great at all. And he's come in and he has been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. He's been a big part of why they're in the Champions League final. I think there's talent out there. I think
there always is talent out there.
There's always talent out there, man. There's always talent out there. Someone like we've just learnt it a year ago. We all thought Martinez was crap. We were all scared to death whenever Martinez was in the starting lineup. And now it very much looks like he probably was the better out of the two goalkeepers, out of him and Leno. So I do hear you, and I definitely don't.
I still say, hold on, I have to caveat. I still say they're the same level.
I think Martinez is better in most aspects.
He makes mistakes. Leno makes mistakes. It's just
and all goalkeepers will make mistakes.
Exactly.
But I think when you look at their skill set, because I think we've seen enough now from their skill set, I think Martinez ticks way more of the boxes for me. More commanding, better with his feet. I think they're similar level shot stoppers.
They're not. Martinez is not a better shot stopper. He's not.
I think they're similar levels.
And he doesn't come off his line that quick as well. So if you have something good, essentially that's how I view the keepers. There's no perfect keeper. If your keeper has certain characteristics that make him good, there are certain characteristics that don't make him good. Leno is, for example, the not coming for crosses, the Bozo gene. With Martinez, I don't think his shot stopping is actually great. And I think also coming off his line, he's not great. So, but he's very great collecting crosses, very good commanding, and he's also good with the ball at his feet. Yeah, see in the comments, they're linking us with Onana. I don't think Onana is levels with Martinez or Leno. We're downgrading in goal. This is going to be a keeper who's going to be good with his feet, all right shot stopping, and then can't claim crosses, and then probably also has a Bozo gene because I've seen them have some crazy moments.
Yeah,
so
definitely has some Bozo genes.
that's my only concern because we can bash keepers as much as we want, but we've come from Amunia to then Czech to now having two decent keepers, and we're going to end up downgrading again. So unless
maybe.
Yeah, I'm just skeptical if we're going to be able to get something.
I'm also skeptical too because I think we have shown the propensity to sign some dud players, right? However, when we have earmarked someone as of late, I think we've done a decent job in terms of finding good players.
Who do you think earmarked now? This Onana guy.
Say that again?
I think it's going to depend on his appeal because he's actually suspended till February. So if he wins his appeal, I think he can play again in October.
Why do you think we're not linked with David Raya anymore?
I think because that guy's arse, man. That's why. Like, it's funny because from what I understood, a lot of the stuff that we did around goalkeepers was based on the recommendation of this new guy, this Kenner guy, and people are looking at him funny now because of that Russian deal. And I think David Raya was another one of his recommendations from having worked with him before. So for me, I think there's two important aspects of being a keeper. I think most keepers are good enough shot stoppers. I don't really want to bring that into a consideration because if you're not a good shot stopper, you're basically Runnison. Do you know what I mean? Right? Like it doesn't matter what else.
Yeah, or Kepa. Yeah.
Or Kepa,
like we don't care about anything else. Yeah. But I think for the two things for me that are important is being able to claim crosses and being, I think, commanding the box both with your feet and with your hands, basically. So I don't care if you're like not an expert ball playing goalkeeper. I think there's a lot of decent like ball playing keepers. I think Alisson isn't the best with the ball at his feet, but what I think he does is he's commanding. His defense isn't nervous when the ball goes near him, kind of thing. And I think that's what probably one of the things that concerns me the most about Leno is that I think he doesn't inspire confidence in the defense compared to Martinez. So I hear what Dan's saying, but I think Leno's almost bad vibes for the defense, and I can't really explain it, but I think the defense looks nervous when Leno's trying to pass it out. Like they don't have 100% faith in his abilities. But I don't know who that name is. I do think Onana does have that Bozo gene 100%, especially if he's going to be taking his wife's medicine. I don't know if you can trust him in that regard. But I have seen him with the ball at his feet. I think he's very, very good, and he's sort of used to that sort of building up from the back at Ajax. So I don't think I'd mind him, especially if he's coming at the price that they said, which is like 7 to 12 million pound. So I think for that price, if you're able to sell Leno for 20 million and you can get someone like him in with Champions League experience, that kind of thing, for like 12 million, then I'll take that if money can be invested in the squad.
To add to the skills that you said you like in the keeper, the commanding for crosses, the being good with the speed. For me, is because obviously the base is that they need to all be decent shot stoppers. Some of them are exceptional shot stoppers, but I need to also add being good off your line. For me, that's a big thing to have at Arsenal. We want to be high up the pitch, right? So I felt like that's always what's my dilemma been with Martinez and Leno. I feel like Leno's good off his line, Martinez is not. Then Martinez is not that good of a shot stopper in my opinion, but Leno is. But Leno's shit at cramming crosses and has a Bozo gene, whereas Martinez is like. So I was like, if you put them together, you'd have a very good keeper. Essentially, you have to make a decision. And now we again at a point where I think Leno's going to go, and we're going to end up getting a keeper again that lacks one of these three things that we need.
I think every goalkeeper in the world lacks one of those three things, unless you're talking maybe Courtois, Oblak, even Courtois. Mendy looks to be a very, very, very good find. I don't know. I'm not too pressed about it. As long as we don't replace him with an absolute dud.
Yeah,
I think there are keepers of a similar level that we can replace him with. I can't think of any that come to mind in the Premier League, to be honest.
Man, to be honest, but I think he's going Milan.
Who, sorry?
Mike Magnan or
Mike
something.
Mangan, yeah.
I think Fabrizio was saying that's basically a deal, but
right. Never seen him.
I can't tell you I've ever seen a game of him. You know,
they were talking about Szczesny coming back. Wouldn't want it. I love Szczesny to bits, but not good enough to be seen. Areola's good, but too short. Too short. Not good from crosses. Yeah. He looks short anyway.
I think he has the Bozo gene as well, Areola.
Well, I've seen him definitely do a few Bozo moments this season. Actually, he's not that short at all. Wow.
Yeah, he's very tall. I think
he's very tall. Yeah, he is. But to me, he looks weak from crosses. So maybe that's where I'm getting the whole height thing from. He from whenever I've seen Areola from crosses, he looks very weak from them. So there's no point being tall if you're weak from set pieces. So and you know
the problem is with Leno though, he's talking like a big man. Like the team needs to stop making less mistakes and all this kind of jazz. You are banned, Leno. You're not Manu Neuer. Like, come on, man. This guy really talking like a big guy. So yeah, let him go, man.
Yeah. Look, listen, and to be fair, we bought him for what, 25 million. We'll probably recoup that anyway, right? He'll be coming into his last year of contract, so I'm sure we can get a decent fee for him. And you know, he gave us a good run. Nothing lost really. As long as we replace him to a similar level, I don't really mind personally. Just a few more performances today. What did you guys think of the whole back three of Gabriel, Murray, and Holding? I thought Gabriel did quite well from just a individual standpoint. I actually thought Holding did quite well as well. I think these are the games that he quite likes. Everything is defending. When he doesn't have to have 70 to 80 touches of the ball and, you know, be tasked with passing the ball correctly, passing the ball to an Arsenal player. I think he does quite well. These are the games that suits him. Crosses coming into the box, head it away, son. Clear it away, son. You know, cut that out. Tackle this geezer. You know, he likes that style of defending. And yeah, sure, if we want to be a mid-table team for the rest of time, then Holding will be absolutely fine to play for Arsenal. But just your thoughts. I thought Murray was very shaky today, very shaky, and after quite an impressive start at Arsenal, I don't know if it's because maybe he hasn't played that often as of late. I think he's been in and out of the team a bit. Potentially that has something to do with a performance level, but I feel like we've definitely seen his performance level drift.
Murray makes me really mad, and I'll tell you why. He almost tricked me. Because I was hard on the Murray slander at first, right? And then I nearly had to concede. I was already like, yeah, he's looking like a decent signing. Yeah, that man is ass. I ain't taking back shit, man.
Yeah.
Murray doesn't look that good to me, man.
No, I'm with you, Dan. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not too high up on Murray personally. I think mainly because I think he shouldn't have played the important games that we had. I think it's a big reason why we went out in the Europa League was his selection over Gabriel personally, and I think people are way too harsh on Gabriel. Even today, I think I saw people sort of slandering him, saying, saying, oh, he's got the bozo gene, this, that, and the other. But for me, at 23 years of age, he's a far superior player to Pablo Mari. So
I think people.
Yeah,
I think
go on.
people also forget that Gabriel has only played. I think it's less than 100 senior league appearances, and in top tier football, I think he's only just played like 50 games, like in terms of playing like League One and the Premier League as well. So he's maybe 23 years old. And I made the comparison to Diaz earlier because we were talking about Diaz. Diaz has played about 200 something games for Benfica and now for Man City. He's got a shit load of experience playing at a really good level of football.
European football as well.
At European football. And, sometimes that experience is going to show because, centre-back is not about how old you are necessarily. It's about how many games you've got under your belt, knowing what to do in certain situations, having that repetitiveness of thought, of decision making, what to do in certain scenarios. So, yeah, sorry, Dan, to interrupt, but it just worthwhile pointing that out. Sorry, Dan. Sorry, did you? I thought I interrupted you.
Oh no! So yeah. So and I think as well, like this whole holding thing held us back this season as well. Obviously, our thoughts have been well documented about Saliba, etc. But I think if you think about it, I think Dan said it in the group chat as well, that if we'd have had identical results this season, but instead we'd been playing Gabriel and Saliba for most of the matches, that would be a whole year that they could earn experience, as you said, now comparing Diaz and Gabriel's time and their minutes, but instead Saliba wasted 10 weeks of his career in the gulag, and is playing
Colchester Rezzies.
Playing under 23 football 2 years after he made his first team debut, age 17.
You know what? You see that situation? Not enough has been said by the media about that whole situation.
Yeah, it stinks.
Yeah.
We had to pay £10 to watch Saliba games for the under 23.
Yeah, that's
yeah. We don't say we. I was not involved in that shit, but
I was involved, man. I'm not scared to say I was
under
involved.
23s against Mansfield under 23s.
Yeah,
it was Gillingham to be exact.
That was a dark day for Touchy Gooners. That was a dark day.
And I think as well that I think a lot of Gabriel's issues came because of communication as well. And from my understanding, he can speak French, and him and Saliba could have built up a much better relationship, I think, than what Gabriel and Holding have been able to do as well, which would have been better for both of their developers and for Arsenal's future. So I think a big ask for Mikel Arteta, or one of his big aims, is getting the Saliba guy into the team, because if they allowed this guy to throw him by the wayside, I will be very, very annoyed. Very annoyed.
And what's crazy is I think we've already, me and Sean already touched on it, is that this was the perfect season to bring them two together. If they play them two together all season, and even if we didn't do that well, but you let them to build a understanding and a good relationship, and then obviously we need to replace Leno, it'll make things so much easier, because you've already got those two in front of a new goalkeeper, ready to just make it easier for the new goalkeeper if we get one this summer, because obviously Leno is potentially leaving.
Sign the French guy as well. It would have been nice.
It would have been perfect.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually, because there is going to be a lot of, from what we're hearing anyway this summer, there looks like there's going to be a lot of shuffling around. A lot of people are going to go. So we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot a little bit, because we've not helped ourselves build in any partnerships with the players who are going to stay around. Aubameyang, we've played him left, right, centre. all over the place. Saka as well. You know, I know he's played a lot more on the right this season.
Who's the right back you're playing with next year?
Playing right wing back. You know, like you mentioned with Saliba, had not played at all. Gabriel.
Wait.
Been
You
in and
see
out
tonight? I was actually so baffled. Why was obviously I don't rate him. Obviously, his time's done it. But why was Bellerin on bench and Saka playing right wing back?
Didn't understand it.
They can kill me, bro.
Didn't understand.
I'm actually. I was so lost. I was thinking, what?
No idea. Bellerin must really be in the mud if he
told
he's
us
gone for Saka at right wing back.
Yeah,
I
think he told us in his face, "I'm gone, man. The shit you cooking up is not good, man."
Yeah.
Because obviously last summer he persuaded him to stay.
Yeah.
So he's probably thinking, bro, you made me really stay for this.
Yeah. Well, boy, he ain't been serving up much himself, so he should
but
dirty mouth shut.
I can't lie, man. That him going PSG makes a lot of sense for him, and for his brand and
as an influencer.
It
makes a lot of sense for him, man.
Of course it does. But yeah, look, he's going to be another one that is probably going to be on their way out. I thought Partey and El Neni did okay today, actually.
Partey was all right.
Partey was all right. Did a lot of good defensive stuff. Obviously, like I think Dan, you mentioned that maybe we should have had a penalty at the end, and he got booked for diving. Quite bit of a bizarre one. That like his heels literally got clipped. He didn't dive at the very. If you don't think it's a penalty, he didn't dive. All you had to do was check the cameras to see that his heels were clipped. It definitely wasn't a dive. So, but I thought he did a lot of the dirty work defensively. I think he won the most duels, most tackles in the game. So he had a lot of work to get through. But I think it helped him today having the structure with El Neni, someone to be beside him rather than... Because could you imagine if he was playing in there with Ceballos? Fucking...
That's your guy, bro. That's your guy.
Yeah. And you know what? I can open my hat. I can... put my hands up and say that Ceballos and Partey experiment should never happen again. Because
I don't want to see Ceballos in the Arsenal shirt again, man.
I don't think you're going to see Ceballos in the Arsenal shirt. I don't think
there's a point of him.
Why wasn't he? Was he in the squad today?
Who cares, man? Who cares?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, you don't.
Okay, I do.
To be honest, I'll just let the season be a write-off. It's a write-off already. But
I mean, the season literally is a write-off. Although you can't.
It's been a write-off for a while, but I'd rather see like young players making their debut. You know, man.
He's not going to do that if we can get Europa Conference League, is he? So
he's not. This guy's such a. This is the thing where I hate this Arteta guy, man. He's such a bum. I feel like
it's okay.
I feel like Ty from Arsenal Fan TV. You know when he's just.
Olo's a mess, man. Olo's a mess.
He's
lost it. Man disappears for 20 minutes off the pod, then comes back and starts talking about things we've already covered. Like, it's just Olo is definition of just vibes. Just vibes. Literally, that is all of what Olo does. Vibe in the FC.
Really crash, man.
Vibe in
the
FC. Anything further you guys want to discuss before we wrap things up?
No, I'm good, man.
I'm
surprised we made this last an hour, man. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. Well, listen, you don't beat Chelsea every week. We've done the double over them. It's another away victory for Arteta against a top 6 team, which, they're coming around pretty frequently now. So he must have a better record in the against top 6 teams than Wenger, Emery put together at this bloody point. So at least that's one thing he's doing all right. He's getting us somewhat competitive in these games. It's everything else that he needs to work on. But yeah, guys, we'll call it a day there. We'll be back next week with some Patreon content as well. So if you're interested in joining our Patreon, do sign up. We had a Chelsea preview today with Bab, so hopefully everyone enjoyed that. It was a pretty good 2-hour conversation, actually. Bloody hell. So if you need something to do and you need me chatting you off for 2 hours, then go and listen to that. But yeah, we'll be back anyway with a normal pod next week. Take it easy, guys.
Nice.
Bless up.